Welcome back to the program. Last session, we talked about establishing Jerry and how Jerry has affected our inner self by creating our inner self, which is Tom, throwing Tom into the storm to navigate the whole kind of mess that's a tornado within the bottle that you used as a prop. And so Jerry encompasses all of those negative things that affect our inner peace, which is, and our inner self and our true self, which is Tom. And so in this session, we're going to talk about how we can go about eradicating those Jerrys, those negative thoughts, those emotions and feelings, the pain and the mental pain. So again, we're joined by Ajahn Supawan Green, who is a prolific author to talk about inner peace, how we find inner peace by eradicating Tom and Jerry and bringing your mental self back home, as she has coined. And so we can identify, connect, and delve into that profundity. So Ajahn Ka, take it away.
Hello, Roslyn, and thank you very much for inviting me to come back again. Okay, thank you. Right, so what we left off from last time was that I have identified the cause of the problem, basically, which is Jerry. I hope you can remember this bottle. Okay, so Jerry is the real culprit, you know, for all our problems, okay, that attack our mental self or Tom. So this time I'm going to show you how we can get rid of Jerry. Okay, so is it okay if I share screen?
Of course.
It's important that people got to see, you know, my illustration so that I can explain in a more systematic way. Okay, there we go. Right, so first of all, before I go through anything about the tool, let's agree on something. And that agreement is that you got to admit that the Buddha's enlightenment does have some impact on humanity, especially the Buddhists. Okay, a really big impact as well. And that big impact is the teaching of his noble truth. So what exactly happened on that night? On that night, the Buddha is just, prior to the enlightenment, okay, the Buddha is just like everyone else. He got pain, mental pain. He got Jerry, okay, and then go through all the searching, 6 years of searching. In the end, because of the perfection that he had accumulated over so many lifetimes, led him to that night 2.5 millennia ago, one Visakha Bucha day. Okay, the Buddha had found a state of mind. So from here, they had this. He found on that night, he found a state of mind that is totally in the opposite from boom, boom, boom. I like to use the word boom, boom, boom. Okay. He found a state of mind that is totally calm and at peace. Okay. Upon finding this state of mind, he knew right away that this is it. This is the answer for humankind. Everyone, the reason that we are here, you know, on this planet is because we got to find our way back home to this state of mind, you can call eternal peace, you know, your inner peace. So the Buddha make a summary of this. So this has become the third noble truth called Nirodha. The first, I'll talk about that later. So anyway, this third noble truth, the Buddha make a summary by looking at this image. So he said that no happiness is greater than inner peace. It means that he gave us the endorsement. You don't have to go find anything else that can be greater than your inner peace. There is nothing that can be greater. The inner peace is the best kind of happiness. Okay.
Most important asset, yes.
Most important. Yeah. I hear some noise in the background. I don't know what it is. Do you hear?
I think it's my fan from my computer. So sorry, guys.
Oh.
It'll kind of quiet down in a moment.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then apart from no happiness is greater than inner peace, you also got another sentence, okay? It goes, nirvana is the best kind of happiness. It's, in fact, these two discourses is all connected. So we use the logic, to connect these two sentences up. So basically, nirvana is our inner peace, which is also the best kind of happiness. So our inner peace, in fact, the Buddha used the label called nirvana. You see, the Thai Buddhists like to think of nirvana in such a grand, concept. It's just so grand. Oh, it's so difficult to have access to all these things. It's not for us lay people. It's only for monks who practice so hard, before you can get that. It's not at all. You say, nirvana, in fact, is our inner peace. Is this, very peaceful state of mind, which is the best kind of happiness. So this is the endorsement from the Buddha. So we agree on this one first, that this inner peace is the goal that we want to achieve. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to move to this illustration now. So basically, like last time, we talked about the state of boom, 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 mental pain caused by Jerry. So it means that our predicament is at position A, where we have all the stress, worry, anxiety, restlessness, loneliness, fear, anger, envy, or basically losing control of our mind. Losing control of our mind, or get lost, being a lost soul. Okay, so position A is the first noble truth. We talk about universal truth now. So it doesn't mean that you're a Christian, you're Islam, you are atheist. You don't have this stress, worry, anxiety. No, not at all. Everyone have them all the same. This emotional turmoil. Okay, everyone have it all the same, regardless of your religious belief. Okay, so the universal truth or the noble truth of suffering is position A. This is what the Buddha have found out. Okay, and then position B is the third noble truth, which is the finding, the experience that the Buddha have found on the night of his enlightenment. That is position B, which is the state of peace, calm, mental stability, tranquility, fearlessness, confidence, or altogether being in control. This is losing control. And this is about being in control. I like that. In control of a mind. Okay. So this is the third noble truth. So you can see that there is a journey for our mental self to work on. That is from A to B. And this journey, okay, the Buddha he was quite thorough. He was really thorough. He gave us the tool. For us to engage so that we can go from A to B. And that tool is called the 4 foundations of mindfulness, or Vipassana. Okay, the 4 foundation mindfulness of Vipassana, which in the Noble Eightfold Path is the fourth noble truth. So Vipassana is part of the 4th noble truth. Okay, the 4th noble truth, there are 8 items. Start from right will, right speech, right livelihood, all these things, all the way to number 7, right concentration, and right samadhi. Right samadhi is right meditation. Okay, so being a lay person, I don't get involved in all those moral precept. Okay, I go straight to the technique of meditation or Vipassana. So so you can see that this image here make up of 3 out of 4 noble truths. A is the first noble truth of suffering. B is the 3rd noble truth of the end of suffering. Okay, and Vipassana, or the fourth foundation of mindfulness, is the fourth noble truth. And the second noble truth, can you guess what? This is what we talked about it last time. The second noble truth is the cause of suffering, the cause of mental pain. So, Rosalind, you want to guess who is the culprit, cause of the suffering?
That would be Jerry.
Exactly. Absolutely right. So the cause of suffering is Jerry. You see, by using Jerry, life is much easier. We don't have to deal with any Pali jargon at all. And then it makes sense straight away. So let me take you back to this.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason why I have to, invent this term, bring your mental self back home, because even the Thai Buddhists do not understand, do not know that Vipassana or mindfulness meditation, in fact, have everything to do with their daily life. They don't know. They like to think that, Vipassana is for temple goers, for people who have broken hearts. Okay, you go to temple. But look, I have all this wealth. I live in a big house. I got so many cars. I got so many, money in the bank. I don't need Vipassana. I am okay. I'm fine. You see? But in fact, that is the misunderstand, about the mental pain. You see, they relate all this happiness with material wealth. But material wealth is also subjected to the law of change. If the economy crashed, like all this COVID that going on, all this business, lots of people, it just crashed. Once it crashed, all this wealth, it can just disappear into thin air like that. So there's still a lot of misconception among the Buddhists. This is the reason why I need to invent the term, bring your mental self back home, and tell them the story that the mental self get lost in the mental jungle. Okay, so this is the reason why that even to the Thai Buddhists, I need to tell them all this analogy, that what Vipassana or mindfulness meditation, means. It means that your mental self gets lost and you need to come home. And what is your home? You see? So I need to introduce to them the mental self, and then introduce to them their home for the mental self to take refuge. So this is one analogy. The second analogy that I like to talk about is Vipassana or mindfulness meditation is very much like medication. So come back to Jerry again. So Jerry eats our mental self up, right? Eat the mental self up. So Jerry is very much compared to viruses, bacteria, diseases, okay, pathogens that eat your mental self up. In the West, you even got the term that you're being eaten up inside, right? Your inner self is being eaten up by something, by your problem. Exactly the same meaning. But our understanding is still very much ambiguous, quite cloudy, you see. So I make it clear to you. So a mental self being eaten up, okay, by a Jerry or virus, bacteria, pathogen that eat us. So Vipassana or mindfulness meditation is nothing more than the medication that the Buddha gave us. But the person who got to take this medication is obviously not our physical self. It is our mental self. Can you see that? So if you don't know what your mental self or your inner self is, you can't take this medication. So no matter what you say, you need a guide, a spiritual guide to guide you to engage in this process of doing Vipassana. So for me, I use this analogy. And then just suppose that not everyone who can resonate with these two analogies. So I told them another one, the last one now. Okay, if you can't understand this one, I will say goodbye. Right, the third one, I like this picture. The third, so we are at position A, where we have Jerry, boom, 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 problem. And then you heard about position B, like, a town, a light triangular that is so beautiful and at peace, you must go once in your lifetime because it's just absolutely beautiful, you must go. Okay, so we heard about triangular, this peaceful, place. But the Buddha didn't just tell us the goal of nirvana. He gave us the tool. And this tool is very much like a transport. Okay, I give you a car. Go on. You can drive now. Okay, from A to B. Yeah, but the person who got to drive this car, this spiritual car, is obviously not your physical self. It's got to be your mental self. Who drive this car, which called bring your mental self back home, or called Vipassana. You see that?
You can see once you see the illustration, you can see that is quite clear. So it means that it is your mental self got to do the work, got to do this activity. So this journey, come back to this part. So this journey is nothing to do with your physical journey. So when you actually do your practice, your Vipassana, or bring your mental self back home, your physical body just sits still. Sit still on the chair, okay? And let your mental self do the walking. Because this journey is your mental journey or spiritual journey. It's the journey of your mental self, the journey of your mental self, not the physical self. That's why no matter what analogy that is, you need a guide. You need a guide. You need a spiritual teacher to guide you to walk this path from A to B. Okay, is that clear? Is that clear to you? Okay, Rosalind. So if you're ready to engage in the practice, so this practice is called Vipassana, or in the West, you call mindfulness, but I like to call it fully mindfulness meditation, which come from the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So there are 4 foundations that you have to work on. And basically, we are going to talk about the first 2 foundations. I will show you the illustration later. Okay, so I like to make it very clear that mindfulness that you talk about so widely in the West originally come from the Buddha's knowledge, okay, called the 4 foundation of mindfulness, okay, 4 foundation. And then the Pali term called Vipassana. So Vipassana is a specific kind of meditation that can help you to reclaim your inner peace, your eternal peace, or to be in control of your mind. Okay, so my terminology is bring your mental self back home. Okay, is that clear?
Very clear. In other words, mastering your mind and showing Tom the way home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's lovely. So you have seen this picture. This is the beginning. So this picture shows the first noble truth of suffering, right? The noble truth of suffering that we all have. And then this one shows the second noble truth of the cause of suffering. The cause of suffering is caused by Jerry. So Jerry is the only culprit that cause all the suffering among humankind. Okay, this will make life much easier. So you don't have to, try to identify this is the social problem, this domestic problem, religious problem, economy problem, all these things, you don't.
Jerry. Just categorize into Jerry.
Yeah, you don't have to, have too many categories. Just round them up into Jerry first and then see how it goes. Okay, I try to make life easier for people. So this picture emphasizes the second noble truth of the cause of suffering caused by Jerry. Okay, and then we are going to step into the fourth. What's it?
The 4th noble truth.
The 4th noble truth to depopulation Jerry. Depopulation, to get rid of Jerry.
Exactly.
And then so that we can reach our mental space, our peace, calm, silence, stillness, tranquility, mental space. Okay, right. So this is the mental space. So this is the goal that you want to achieve. The goal that you want to achieve.
The right-hand side one. So the inner world of peace.
Yeah, to make our mind, become really peaceful, just like the water on this lake. It's just so still and quiet. So this is the know-how now. This is the toolkit that everyone can have with them. So I will just talk about the first the first 2 foundations of mindfulness. There are 4 foundations. Okay, 4 foundations. The first 2 foundations, okay, let's say the first foundation is your breath and your movement. Okay, and the second foundation is your sensation. Let me start this way. Otherwise you will get confused. So the way that I deliver to my student is like this, that I will first of all explain that we have a physical self, the one that you can see in the mirror, and then you also got the mental self which is the part that you cannot see in the mirror. I try to get the color code right. Okay. So we got the mental self, which is red. No, and this one is red. Okay. And this one also red, which is our mental self. This is our mental self. Okay. Within, inside. You cannot see. You see in the energetic form. Sometimes you call consciousness, but consciousness, oh gosh, it can go anywhere. Yeah. But I try to get to the point that have the impact on us as the individual who have mental pain. Okay, right. So we got the mental self. Our physical self got the physical eyes. Likewise, our mental self also got the mental eyes. Oh, look at the big eyes. Mental, okay, also got the mental eyes. And eyes are for viewing. Eyes are for viewing. Okay, so our physical eyes is to view the scenery in the physical world. Okay, whereas our mental eye is there to view the scenery within. To view the scenery within. And the scenery that we want to view are our breath, our movements, and our physical sensation. Okay, so I try to connect for you first about the foundation of mindfulness. Okay, but let me rewind a bit back to the meaning, okay, of our mental eye. Sometimes you call your third eye. Sometimes you call your inner eye. Okay, so this concept about this mental eye or the third eye, inner eye, in fact, is a very ancient concept. This ancient concept exists even before the enlightenment of the Buddha. Okay, it exists from the Vedas, you know, the Vedas time, the Brahman, the Hindu Brahman. Okay, yes. So let me show you. Let me show you a picture. Okay, so you see why the Indian people, you know, always have this, what they call bindi.
Bindi.
This red dot. Yeah, B-I-N-D-I, bindi. Why they got to put the bindi here on the forehead? This is to signify the existence of our mental eye or the third eye or our inner eye. Okay? Eyes are for viewing. So our physical eyes to view outside in the physical world. Whereas our third eye, inner eye, is for us to view within. To view within. You remember, Rosalind, we talked about it last time, that our inner universe is much more complex than the physical universe.
Very much.
Right? Mm-hmm. Our thoughts and feelings is the part that create the reality in front of us. So therefore, there are much more complex, you know, activity in there. So this is the very ancient knowledge. The very ancient knowledge, you know, from the Vedas time, you know, many thousands of years, you know, they got to know about meditation, especially about meditation with breathing. Meditation with breathing. They got to have some secret in there. Why? Because everyone breathe, but why my breathing is different from others? This is all the detail that we need to talk about. Okay, so come back to this. So it's important that you got to know the function of your mental eye or the third eye. So I like to tell you that this third eye is a very ancient concept from the Vedas time, isn't it? From the Vedas time.
Right.
Yeah. So we are going to use this mental eye. Sorry. Come back to this. We're going to use your mental eyes, okay, to watch your breath and then your movement and your physical sensation. This part, it can only be clear when you actually engage in the practice. Okay, I don't think we have time for the practice today, Rosalind, because of time limit. But I tell you the entire concept first, and then shall we do it like another time, just for
sounds good.
The application alone? Is that better?
So today we'll talk
think
about the theory and the mechanics.
Yeah. Today we talk about the theory. Okay, the mechanic side of the actual practice, because you still need to explain, a lot. So let me show you why I bring this picture up. This, no, come back to this first. This inner eye, third eye, there is a lot to do with the pineal gland as well. Mm-hmm. If you research in the pineal gland, okay, because this pineal gland is connect everything with our inner universe. A pineal gland is very much like a portal, a socket that can help us to understand our inner universe. Can you see that it leads to something that is much more profound, much more profound. Okay, but we don't go that deep. We won't going to delve in, that deep. I just want to tell you that because our inner universe is just so complex. That's why you need another tool. That tool is your eyes. Eyes is tool, right? Our sensory organ, they are tool. They are tool. Sure. For you to find the knowledge in the form of sight, the knowledge in the form of sound, form of smell, form of taste, and form of texture. This is all knowledge. Okay, perception is a knowledge. And then I like you to know that the Buddha class human being with 6 senses, not 5. A mainstream education, our life form, because they only consider that we have only this physical body, and then my consciousness is all in the realm of a brain, part of the brain, which is the different understanding from the Buddha. Different understanding from the Buddha. You see that the Buddha class human, with 6 senses, and that 6th sense is our mental eye, this third one. Because every sense got to correspond to its own sense object. Eyes correspond to what? With sight. Ears with sound. Nose with smell. Tongue with taste. Your skin with texture. Okay, but which sensory organ that you can use to perceive your thoughts and feelings? Nothing is that you can't use your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, your skin to perceive your thoughts and your feelings. Can you?
Perhaps intuition?
You can't. Well, that is another.
Yes.
Okay, just stick with this. Just stick with the sensory organ. Okay, so the Buddha made this third eye, inner eye, as the 6th sense, which correspond to its sense object. The sense object is a Jerry. The sense object. So your mental eyes, okay, mental eyes got to perceive Jerry. And this part is the 3rd foundation of mindfulness. So I kind of, jump a bit. So what I try to say is that this 3rd eye acts as the 6th sense, but this 6th sense, please remember, you got to make it clear that it's not the concept of 6th sense that people understand in the West. In the West, the concept of 6th sense, it means that you can read people's mind, you can read their thought, or someone who can predict the future, or someone who can communicate with dead people.
Like a gift, a psychic gift.
Yeah, that you call psychic. Yeah. So the 6th sense in the West is something else which doesn't cover everyone. You might have just 1 million people on Earth, or 10 million people among the 7 billion, who have psychic, who have the ability of the 6th sense in the concept of the Western understanding. But to the Buddha, the sixth sense concept, or the third eye, inner eye, okay, is the Buddha class every single human being have six senses, or have the sixth sense all the same. So basically, our sixth sense is our own consciousness. So if you have consciousness, you have the sixth sense, and that you use the sixth sense from day one. From day one. I think this concept, we got to have another day to talk about it with clarity. Okay, so you might feel a bit confused. I come back to this first. I come back to this. So if I say that, you know, this third eye is our sixth sense, I mean that, you know, sixth sense as a tool, like eyes. Why we need to have this? Because we need to use this inner eye, mental eye, to find out about all this activity that going on in our head and in our heart. You know, about this inner battlefield, about Tom and Jerry within. You need to have a tool. You need to have the third eye, okay? The third eye to look within. To look within, as we say, you know, as within, so without, as above, so below. So it is this third eye is the tool that you got to look within until, keep on looking, until you can understand what's going on within. Until you can understand what's going on within, before you can understand the world, you know, to the full. Okay, so this is what the full foundation of mindfulness is all about. It's all about, okay?
In other words, Vipassana, just looking, Vipassana, understanding the inner universe.
Mindfulness meditation, okay, and or bring your mental self back home. These three terminology have exactly the same meaning. Okay, so please don't get confused. Okay, so the yin and yang underneath, okay, the plus and the minus underneath, really is the state of duality. Is the state of duality, yin and yang, you know. Okay, so you need the third eye to understand within. Okay, because this universe, this world, you know, all these things that happen, it happened on the basis of the yin and yang, the state of duality. The way that the universe is created, you need to have the positive side, you need to have the negative side to become all this. Okay, in the material world, or even not the material world, you need the components of the yin and yang, the positive and the negative, which create all these things. Okay, and also create the state of delusion.
Yes.
Maya. Okay, which make it so confusing and then give us so many Jerry. That's why we need the third eye, the plus above, okay, to understand the yin and yang, to understand the state of duality within, to understand the illusion, to understand the matrix, okay, to understand the hologram that happening, you know, within and without as well. And this is the cross on top. So within, you will understand, oh, why Jerry, you know, hurt me, and how can I defeat Jerry? All these things is all about this. It may be a bit too deep. Let me pass this. Come back to this. So this is just a theory part. So what happened is that I'd like you to look at the picture of this man. Okay, the picture of this man holding this. So this man with the suit on refer to our mental self, our true self, okay? And then the storm, that is the whole army of Jerry, okay? The whole army of Jerry, and ready to the storm at a tornado, you know, at what, 200 miles an hour. Can you imagine that without that pole? Where this man going to be?
Anywhere, but
anywhere in the sky as well. Anywhere in the sky. It's so windy here in Birmingham. Last night, you know, and then this morning it was the bin there. We got the two-wheeler bin, and I looked through the window. All the bin, it all blown away.
No. So
Blown away
windy.
on the side of the road. Oh gosh. So it was really windy anyway, and that was the wind. But if you got 200 miles per hour wind, a tornado like that, you'll be up there like Dorothy, you know.
Totally uprooted.
Yeah. Okay. So, but these are real life, you know, on the mental level. It's like that all the time. When people have depression and breakdown and suicidal, that is about 500 miles per hour wind within. And then you're all over the place. You're like a lost soul, you know, I don't know what to do with yourself, kill myself, something like this. So Vipassana or the mindfulness meditation is very much like the Buddha gave us this pole. Go on, hold on to this pole. Hold on to this pole, hold tight, so that you won't be blown away by this whole army of Jerry. So hold tight, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight the pole, hold tight the pole. Can you see that?
Okay. Yes.
So this
is go, Elmo.
So that pole is your breath, movement, and sensation. The first two foundation of mindfulness. There are four foundations. Okay, the first foundation is to observe on your breath and movements. The second foundation is to observe on your sensation, your physical sensation. So these first two foundation of mindfulness is the initial step, initial process to reduce the population of Jerry. To reduce the population of Jerry, make it less and less. It was that picture, wasn't it? This one. You see that? Okay, before you can reclaim your mental space to make your mind, totally at peace and calm and at peace without any Jerry. Okay, you got to go through the step by step that the Buddha have paved the way for us. The first two foundation is to train your mental eye. Your mental eye, your bindi, okay? Your mental eye, just keep on focus on your breath, on your movements, on your physical sensations. Keep on doing that. So I will give people the golden rule. As you're doing your structured meditation, you are going to follow this golden rule. That is, do not engage with Jerry. Okay, don't compromise or entertain Jerry. It doesn't matter how attractive that Jerry is, how I got to think, because it's something that I need to think, you got to follow this golden rule of cutting the cord from Jerry. So basically, okay, so this is your Tom, mental self, inner self, with your third eye in there, and this is Jerry. So as you're in meditation, Jerry tried to lure you, come in and say that, oh, come on, leave home, and come with me. We're going to do something nice, and think, drifting away. So you got to try to be aware, and then don't engage, don't compromise, don't entertain Jerry. Just cut the cord. Cut the cord from Jerry, and then keep on using this eye, okay, mental eye, to know your breath, movement, and sensation. Keep on doing that. So as you're doing that, you will reduce the population of Jerry. And then it will help you to reach that state of mind that is totally at peace. And then we go from there. So this is the initial state. Okay. The Buddha was really ingenious, the way that he it's his strategy. He knows exactly what's going on in here. He knows exactly the operation of Jerry within, that how it works. So he kind of, paved the way first of all, for us to do something that reduce that big, massive, bulk of Jerry population, reduce them down first until you get to this empty state of mind. And then from there, you are going to be trained to watch Jerry as it is, to watch Jerry in a scientific way, to help you to gain that intuitive wisdom, to help you to understand the state of duality, to understand the Maya later. That's why I need to go into there. Okay, so that is a more advanced course. So if you have me back, Roslyn.
Of course.
We are going to do the actual practice, put in the application, how exactly that we can dispose of Jerry. How can we purge Jerry out? So this initial state is very important. So basically, I think this is all the picture that I can show you now. Is that clear? The mindfulness.
So to recap, basically what we're trying to do to reach nirvana, or you said the state of inner peace, is to eradicate those Jerrys through the use of breathing, through movement and sensation. And that said, there's a step-by-step process to how you can go about doing that to eradicate Jerry and not give Jerry any more kind of fuel to cause mental pain. And so that takes a little bit of practice, you said, actually, or a lot, on how many Jerrys each of us are battling with. And so that said, we're going to come back and talk about the step-by-step process as well with Ajahn Supawan.
But today it's only like, the entire concept, give you the perspective why we need to do meditation. You see in the West, no, even in the East, we normally jump into the technique of meditation without explain much why we need to do meditation. And especially young people, like in the past, when I went to the temple, the monk said, okay, sit down, sit cross-legged, put your hands like this, back straight, close your eyes and watch your breath.
And breathe.
And then you have a theory in your head that, why do I need to do that? And especially when people have physical impediment, like you got your knee ache, you got your back ache, all these things, and they don't want to do. So as I say that, when I do the teaching myself, I like to be clear. I like to know the reason why I have to do meditation. Because as I say before, a lot of people who are wealthy and they don't have any problem, big problem, they never think that meditation have anything to do with them, you see, but they don't know that everything is subject to change. All their comfort life in their comfort zone can be taken away, just like that, if things happen, so everyone needs to prepare, really need to prepare themselves, to do, to make your, let's say that, make your mental tom strong.
Right, because life throws so many challenges at us, and it doesn't get easier, but we get stronger inside. And so, as you were saying, it's important to exercise and practice that so that Tom will be ready to handle more Jerrys as life these obstacles at us.
When you're faced with crisis or something, which we never know, when it's going to thrust upon you. We never know.
There's no discrimination of age, race, wealth, no wealth, lesser wealth. There's no discrimination. So it's important for everyone to be ready and be able to practice this, because like you said, the outer world is one thing, but the inner world is so much more. And the inner world doesn't have to do with wealth. It doesn't have to do with material things, but it has to do with how you handle and react and respond to that as well, and find inner peace.
All you need is your effort, really, your effort, your commitment.
Intention.
And no one can do it for you. No one can do it for you. So I really like to leave this part, for the audience, for your audience, to ask yourself whether you want to do this or not, because no one can force you. No one, absolutely no one can force you. You got to want to do it yourself. because this is your life and this is your Jerry and this is your pain. Okay, so all I can have for you is that this tool, this, technique, this toolkit that you can take it with you for the rest of your life, so that you have something to deal with your Jerry. Or the medication, the same way that you always pack some paracetamol with you whenever you have headache, just take it out. Yeah, this is why you have this medication called Vipassana or mindfulness meditation with you. So whenever you have your mental pain, you can use it, or you use it before as the deterrent, as the prevention from your future pain, and then allow you to deal with whatever, eventuality that you got to face, with in control.
Definitely.
And I think this is the real wealth, and money cannot buy it. Okay, so I like to leave it to your audience to decide for yourself first whether you like to pursue this or not. And then next time I will give you the application with my own technique that is so unconventional. I'm such an untraditional person, so I create my own technique, and some of you might, but what? The technique that you have never seen before, but it works wonder. So
For
much
sure.
easier.
Definitely. Yeah. Next session, we're going to come back and learn about this unique technique that Ajahn Supon uses to chase away all those Jerrys, bring your mental self back home, and find inner peace. For now, thank you very much, Ajahn Supon, and see you again soon.
Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye.